Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so making consecutive videos here. I just got to talk about length and height metrics and all of that stuff, and how I think that scouts may be overvaluing that a little bit based on what I saw on some content that I watched today. Just wanted to give my little 2 cents on the thought. But right now I'm gonna wing it and talk about basketball even further. I don't really know what I'm gonna say, but we'll figure it out as we go. But right now, I'm just looking at my team, my Lakers. The way that D'Lo is playing right now, it's just it's natural to wonder if it makes any sense to keep him on the floor, trade him, or put him in a position to more or less stay on the team, man. Take the risk, see if you can re-sign the dude at the end of the year. I don't really know if we're not seeing enough from him right now to say, yeah, the risk ain't really as much of a risk when you consider what a one-season, half-season rental is for a player that's playing this well. If you're going to play like this for the rest of the season, it gives you a dynamic that you can win with. And that's what you want. You don't want to just be out here trading away players just because you want the security of having a guy on a lengthy contract, because you don't want to take the risk necessarily of losing a guy who has an option to leave the team and go elsewhere. If your timeline is right now that half season worth of him is really worth it to you because he's really going to help your team, and what you're going to trade away isn't going to be as good or isn't going to be exactly what you need. Now, DeJounte Murray's proven himself in this league as an all-star just like D'Lo has. They both can play. DeJounte's on a 4-year contract, $17 million, and I think that contract could potentially be good for the Lakers, but I think trading away D'Lo at this level is not the same as what it was when D'Lo's struggling and you just kind of want to move on from D'Lo. You know what I mean? He's not struggling. In fact, he's playing his best basketball right now. So it's like, how bad do I need to get rid of D'Lo? How much do I need to value him? And am I still looking at the same things at this point when assessing what I'm bringing to my team for the short term, which we really do value given the fact that we got LeBron James at 39 years of age and Anthony Davis on tap with him. So nobody's going to trade either one of those guys. We got to make sure that stuff around them makes sense for their timeline. Otherwise, it does make the most sense to trade one of those guys. So that's what I'm saying to y'all. It makes sense for the Lakers to assess D'Lo's well playing right now and see if we can get the value for his increased well play, rather than just getting him out of here for the same price that he would have cost before he started going on this heater. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting value for what you have, not just about getting contracts that make you feel good. I think that's kind of why our team is mediocre right now, is because we put so much of an emphasis on flexibility and not enough of an emphasis on talent. And so as a result, we got young players and some okay guys relying upon one another surrounding Bron and AD. And that flexibility is great, but the team isn't that great. So that's why it's like, all right, let's kind of go back to the drawing board and find a bit more balance as it pertains to what our timeline is, because we really don't have time to be just throwing seasons away for the comfort of flexibility. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to put together a winning basketball team. So if the object of the game is to be average and flexible, you're in the wrong market. You got the wrong team for that. Maybe you should try to take care of a team that's in a small market like Charlotte or something. Maybe that should be their goal, not ours. We're trying to dominate, and so at the end of the day, we got to be strong enough to make the right decision for our team to say, if we really do want to stay in this place where flexibility is king, then maybe we're holding on to the wrong superstars. Maybe we should try to trade them for further flexibility so we can go all in on that flexible space. No one wants to trade away LeBron James, but if you can't bring him what he needs to win championships, you're kind of just milking him for the revenue that he can give you for off-the-court purposes. And that doesn't do a service to him if you care about that sort of thing, for which we should, and our reputation will require us as the Lakers organization to care about such things. So we got to believe in ourselves as it pertains to us being able to rebuild one way or another, because at the end of the day, at this age, he's going to be moving on. So while flexibility may be king in that regard, at the end of the day, if you're going to let a whole half of your value walk out the door in one person, then some of what you're doing for your flexibility gets negated by the notion that you would allow that to happen. And so that's one of my point of views when it comes to the Lakers. We're doing all this to make sure we're flexible, and only to let LeBron James walk or allow him to risk. You're going to trade away D'Lo because he's a risk to walk away, but then hold on to Bron, who's like significantly more valuable at that same risk. I just don't understand that. I understand that only to say that because we expect Bron to do the worst of what it is that we would hope he wouldn't, we would want to leave ourselves without two of our main pieces doing so. But just the same, it's like, if the risk is so bad that we must move D'Lo at this price, regardless of how well he's playing, so that we don't have that problem, D'Lo's not worth as much as Bron is. So why isn't the urgency to move Bron to mitigate that risk just as important? And it comes back down to off the court revenue, for which that's not what the fans are paying for. To be honest with you, that's not what we're paying for. You know, that's taking advantage of the fans to a degree, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, we're thinking you're trying to put together a basketball team that can win, not just a guy that can make us want to come here thinking that we can win when we really can't. That's a con. You understand what I'm saying? You conning me into thinking that we're playing for championships. You conning LeBron fans into paying for Laker tickets when they don't really have a chance to see their guy win a championship. So for me, it's like, I don't doubt that people are willing to make themselves look crazy for massive amounts of money. But at the end of the day, it does make us look crazy when we're not putting together a championship team for LeBron and not valuing the more expensive assets the same way that we would value the lesser expensive assets in the same situation. It looks stupid to me. If I'm about to lose my whole house, why am I valuing the lawn more so than the house itself? It's like, these are the type of things that it looks like the Lakers are doing when they let Bron walk, but, you know, be so concerned about moving D'Lo in that same situation. It's stupid. It is. In the grand scheme of things, you're still going to lose the value if the player walks. So, for me, it's like, your rebuilding is something that the Lakers, you know, as a fan, our rebuilding process is something that I take extremely seriously. And when it comes to rebuilding, I want to do a much better job this time than we did last time. Because at the end of the day, the cookie doesn't have to crumble the way you want it to. The lottery doesn't have to fall the way you want it to. We ended up with the second overall pick, twice in a row? We were lucky with the pick. We got Brandon Ingram, that was the right pick. We took Lonzo Ball, that was the wrong pick. It's a lot of things that can go wrong. We never got the first overall pick. We didn't get the Joel Embiid piece. We didn't have an opportunity at a Wembanyama. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you have the most equity for your future in the event that a rebuild will be necessary. And right now, I don't think the Lakers are in a position to let LeBron James leave and start the process of that rebuild and still be competitive with the field for your trajectory. Because at the end of the day, if LeBron James is worth 3 first overall picks, unprotected, swaps or what have you, and that's just me putting a roundabout number out there, then that's all of your rebuilding equity leaving your association. You're letting that walk as opposed to making sure that you have it in the event he does leave. So for me, it's like, I don't want that to walk out of my organization, that value to walk at all. If I think that the rebuilding process could be imminent, yeah, I could trade AD for however many picks and swaps and unprotected whatevers, but Bron is still the crux of what it is that is in place as well as the other half of that value. And given the fact that I'm not necessarily just finding a bunch of Austin Reeveses and stuff like that out of nowhere, you know, I did draft a Jalen Hood-Schifino who at this point doesn't look like he's going to pan out that way with my 17th overall pick and don't get another one for a while. It's like, I can't afford to let equity dissipate and evaporate like this. And so that's where my head is. While everybody is considering what this team needs and this and that, this is the angle I come in at. That's where my head goes immediately. Do we have the value in place with all of the different stuff that we ultimately own to reset and have a full deck? Because at the end of the day, what teams need to understand is, if you're resetting with a lesser deck, you're counting on not only needing more things to pan out in Austin Reeves-like ways, getting something out of nothing, but you also are going up against a field of teams that don't have that problem. They have their Bron and AD worth of stuff. Some of them have even more than that because of teams like us who've mortgaged everything. You got your New Orleans, you got your Oklahoma City Thunders, you got your Utah Jazzes and New York Knicks. They have more than their requisite amount because of the fact that teams have mortgaged so much. So when you reset with half of what you have not being present, even in your rebuild, you need to overachieve so much to even get close to where they are. And when you get to your rebuilding space, you're going to realize that your team can't compete with their team because they got so much more talent wrapped up in what it is they own, or so much more value and flexibility, tradable value, that they can get significantly better than you're capable of becoming. And so that's the concern with certain teams that mortgage everything. Your Clippers, your Minnesotas, your Lakers, teams who've mortgaged everything for a superstar. If you can't reset that, if you can't trade that superstar for more or equal value to what you've mortgaged, then it's out the window. And so with us letting LeBron walk and AD being who we've traded for that value, a lot of our future to get, rather, you really are working with a lot less than your average team. That's why letting LeBron James most definitely should not be done by this organization. Now, if we were Utah, if we were New York, with a bunch of picks and a bunch of players, then letting LeBron walk isn't a harmful thing. But for this particular franchise, because we've already mortgaged so much of our future, it's the worst thing for us. So that's what I'm saying to all of you guys. We need to not just value the off-the-court LeBron revenue, because it doesn't necessarily translate to gunpowder, so to speak, in the NBA market. It doesn't necessarily, there's only but so much you can buy with cash considerations any damn way. And like I said, if you're here to only make NBA profits for your own pockets, if you're an owner, then you're not doing a service to what it is that you ultimately own, and are going to ultimately lose value in it by playing it that way. You got to invest in it the right way to keep it as valuable as it needs to be. So letting LeBron James walk shouldn't be worth more to you than your future, just because he's going to make you $4 or $5 billion right now. You're going to end up losing $4 or $5 billion when he walks, and that needs to be balanced out in regards to what you're looking at. So that's where I'm at with that. I just think that Jeanie Buss is trying to ride the wave with Bron, just like most owners would. The risk is worth more than the reward, and I mean, it's worth the risk is not worth the reward in this case, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, you're gonna lose this player, and if you do lose this player, you're gonna lose all the money and all the extras that come with it. And for your expectations and your fan base's expectations, that's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. So while nobody is expected to trade LeBron James, without a guarantee, the only responsible thing I see is to trade LeBron James. A guarantee that he's going to opt in. And given the fact that his son's on the way to the league, possibly going to be drafted by everybody but us, I don't understand why everybody doesn't see the urgency, the complete and utter urgency that I'm seeing right here. Half of your value has already been mortgaged, and you're going to let the other half of your value walk out the door, and then the other half of your value that you have left, the fullness of your value that's left, is an Anthony Davis, who is not a player who's expected to remain as healthy as he's been over the last 60, over the past 360 days, because he has really been great and healthy for us, but he has had injury issues that are extremely extensive. So it's like, if that's the only other thing all of your war chest is in, well, damn it, if he goes down and Bron walks, you're not worth a damn thing. You're literally the worst team in the league with no path to getting better. So it's like, if you don't see that risk, then hopefully I've made you do so right here. Because that's exactly what it is. You need more of what you own to be diversified into more different players. You need what you have to be in different places altogether, so that if something goes wrong, it's not all of your money disappearing off the face of the earth. That's what it really comes down to. It's just like having all your money invested in one company. If that company goes under, you broke. That don't make no damn sense. And that's kind of what the Lakers is doing right now with this situation. You need more wrapped up in more places so that you have less of a risk at everything falling apart if one player goes down. So that's what I'm trying to get my team to understand, man. I hope y'all get that. Letting LeBron James walk is the biggest mistake this team can make for the future, especially with your rival having a new building, 4 and 5 Hall of Famers and all this different stuff. You can't let LeBron James walk, man. The fact that you were worried about worried about D'Angelo Russell walking and not worried about LeBron James walking is completely mind-blowing to me. That's mind-blowing. If D'Lo walking ain't gonna cost you a fourth of a thing. But LeBron James opting out to go play with his son, which is a high bet. If y'all don't see the urgency in moving him in that regard, you better have a guarantee in place, or everything that I'm worried about is going to come into place. And people like myself are going to be unhappy with the team for years to come, man. And it just don't have to go that way. There's always going to be another superstar, another guy who wants to come play for you, and you ain't going to be able to trade for him, a la Miami Heat and Kevin Durant and everybody else they want, because they ain't going to have the equity to do so. So that's the harm in letting LeBron James walk. You shouldn't have let Julius Randle walk. We talked about that as well. That was a huge mistake. You see what he turned into. He's worth a couple first rounders. You let him just walk out the door to go to New Orleans for nothing. You should not even consider letting that happen with LeBron James. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.